Hello. I am Trina Boyd. I'm back with another video. And today I'm actually going to be talking about how I won my first government contract. But before I get into that, make sure you all subscribe to my channel. I talk about government contracting and how to get government contracting or government contracts as a women-owned business. I also talk about business credits, and I also talk about government grants for nonprofits and grants for for-profits. Let's get right into it. So I'm actually going to talk about how I won my first government contract. Before I get into that, I want to kind of explain the levels of government. So the first level that you have the federal level. So the federal level is basically the highest level. The second level of government is the state level. And then you have the city level, and then you have the county level. So what happens is the federal level gets money, right? And then once they get money, they give the money to the state, the city, and the county. So that's basically how the levels of government go. So I'm actually going to talk about how I was able to win my first government contract through the local level, and also a federal level contract that I got as well. So if you don't know, I'm Trina Boyd. I actually have for-profit businesses. I have a nonprofit business or nonprofit organization, which is called Women in Power. I have a babysitting nanny agency. We also have a call center as well. So that's a little bit about me. So I'm actually going to focus more so on the babysitting part of how I have been getting and receiving government contracts. So how I was able to get my first government contract was actually, it was not through a request for proposal. So a request, just to kind of get you all up to date on how the government works, you have, when they put out a bid, you have a request for a proposal. That's actually they requesting you to send a proposal in to them for that particular bid that they have already put out. So they may have a bid out on the federal level, state level, local level, and county level, right? And they may ask you to submit your proposal to them. That's the first part, the way the government works. Then the second part is through a request for a quote. So a request for a quote, they're requesting you to just submit a quote. They just want the numbers. They don't care about a lot of stuff. A lot of times they don't care about your past performances or anything. They want the lowest bid possible. All right. So I'm just going to talk about those two things. So the last one is a sole source. So a sole source contract is basically where they sole source the contract to one particular company. They do have to advertise it on SAM, but they don't put it out for other people to bid on. So a sole source is just strictly just your company may get the contract without having no one bid on it. Okay. So with that being said, this is more so like a sole source type of deal. What happened was I got a call from a organization, and this is just to let you know that government has different levels of organizations. So they have the Army, they have the Navy, they have just the Department of Justice, the NIH. They have all these different levels of government. But this particular one, they actually just called me. They actually saw that I did. They Googled event childcare, and this is going to be for my babysitting company. So they Googled event childcare, and they found me, right? And so she was just asking, am I able to provide event childcare for their event that they're doing? And I was like, sure. Even though we was not locally in that particular city, we had moved, but we still had our business on Google. So this is the power of Google, y'all. Google is very powerful. But that's why you want to actually put your business on Google. It's completely free. So she Googled me, found me, and she was asking me if I wanted to provide childcare. And I said, sure. So what I did was I had connections already in that particular city. So I asked these particular babysitters, both of these babysitters have babysat my children before. So I was very confident in their skill set, also in their dependability. They were both dependable, and my kids, they loved them. So with that being said, we got that particular bid or contract, whatever you want to call it, and we provided services. So we did a great job. Then they had, so I think it was like a couple years later or a year later, she called me again. She was like, we got um a event coming up every single month in different cities. I was like, oh my gosh. So this was more so a bigger contract. She knew we could perform the work, so that's why she actually chose our company. So they had events coming up every single month in different cities and states. Most of these cities were actually small cities, y'all. Like when I tell you they were small, they were like 2,000 people live there. 1,000 people live there. So how could you possibly staff babysitters in those? Because we wasn't traveling. Like my staff wasn't traveling there. We had to locally hire people to perform these duties, and we was able to successfully do it. Thank God. God gave me the insights on what I needed to do, and that's what I've been doing. It's my bread and butter, my secret sauce. So you want to say my secret sauce. But we was able to successfully perform these duties. So that's how we won our first, I guess you want to say federal, and we really didn't have to bid on anything. So the second contract that we were able to successfully get was through our county. So this was actually last year and this year actually. So because we provide babysitting services and we are number one on Google, so make sure you're on Google. Maybe I do a video on SEO. If y'all want me to do a video on that, just let me know, comment in the below. But they found me on Google. And we do event childcare. So this particular one was through the county, and they were needing babysitting services for a particular group of people. And that was still through the government. One of the things that they kept asking me for, are you registered with the county to do business? And guess what? I was already registered. So make sure you're already registered with your county. Make sure you're already registered with your state. Make sure you're already registered with the federal government. One of the things I teach on in my government contracting class, I do have this class every single month. So if you want to learn how to register with the federal, the state, and the city, make sure you register for my next government contracting class. So just make sure you're always ready. It's just so important to be ready, because if I wasn't registered, who knows what they would have said. They could have gave it to another company, because I'm not the only company in my city who does event childcare. But because I'm number one on Google, that's why I came up. Well, with that being said, just make sure you're always ready. Be ready in and out of season. That's what the Bible says. So with that being said, we were able to successfully secure childcare. It was up until whenever they needed us. It was every week. We sent out, I think it was 1 or 2 babysitters. And yeah, so that was the second one. And the third contract we was able to secure was through the county again. So the county one was, the third one was I think it was for social services department under that particular government. So like, just like you have the federal level have different departments, the city have different departments under, and the county has different departments. So this was for social services. So social services, we was taking care of some children. We secured that one. That was for 8 weeks straight. And that was through the county. And that was a government contract. So all of these things, they actually found us on Google. But I had to be registered. I was make sure your stuff is always updated, because I did have to update some stuff. Even though I was registered with the county, I still had to update like my business address, my bank account information, just making sure all that stuff, because if it's not, your payment can be delayed when they actually do it. Nowadays, they're doing electronic payments. So they're actually wiring the money into your account, or they are actually paying with a credit card or debit card. So just make sure your stuff is updated, so your payment won't be delayed. Just speaking of that, I actually need to resend the invoice now to them because I need to update some stuff on the website. Okay. So with that being said, if you want to learn how you can do business with your city, if you want to learn how you can do business with your state, or if you want to learn how to do business with the federal government, you want to make sure you're registered for my next government contracting class. And make sure you're registered, period, through all of, with your city, state, and federal government. Okay. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great one.